So in between the percentages of 95% service to self and 50% service to others, there's going to be no fourth density humans. There's 50% service to others means like there's gonna have to be 50% or more service to others, which is gonna be the majority of people. So that's good news. Mm-hmm. We got the numbers, but see, like even in Star Wars, they talk about what time is it? Oh, we have time. I'm probably boring you guys to death. No. But in Star Wars, they talk about how like the dark side, you can get powers quicker. You can quit. I fucking love Star Wars, but you can gain and become more stronger, more fast, and that's exactly how they do it here. It's exactly like the Sith are super powerful, and like there's very few of them. They're like the predators, right? Of like
there's only 2 of them, but they're the most powerful beings.
Right. They're just completely self-centered and
right.
Exactly. So that's
I have a comment on that, just on the whole like percentage-wise and why it takes less of service to self. I remember like in high school, my American history teacher, he said, it only takes 30% evil to bring down the whole system. You don't need 51% evil to take apart any system. All you need to ruin something is 30%.
Fascinating.
Yeah, and I mean, it applies to everything, not just Star Wars or, politics, but like anything, like 30% of the rotten apple, the whole thing is going to go in the garbage. You're not going to cut a little piece out. You're not going to cut out half of it that's putrid enough to throw the whole thing away,
That's so true. Like, intuitively looking at the apple, you'll know, like, if it's 30% or more, like, you don't even have to put
you're like, that's just too much.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like, I can't eat around that.
Yeah. That's so true.
So, yeah, he said 30%. And so I've always kind of remembered that, and I think it goes for relationships and other things, too. Like, you might put up with a certain amount of things that you don't like about somebody, but if it's 30% or more, they're probably not the right person for you, right? Or, I mean, you can apply it to the 30% rule to a lot of things, but I think that explains, too, why you don't need as many, you don't need as many bad guys to bring down the system.
See, they serve an important part,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
In the polarity.
Exactly. But see, this is the thing, like, all relativity, like, if it's relative, it's finite. So, once there is relativity, there's past, present, and future, right? There's 3. It's not 2. It's past, present, and future. And, like, the whole trick to this is neutrality. The whole trick to all of it, like service to self, service to other entities, service to others, 6th entity self, like they're not going out fighting bad guys. Like they're letting them be, like letting them kill and mangle and torture and all that stuff, because they know that like it will be all balanced. It's all a balancing act. Like this whole thing, and you can't have, like, let's say, okay, this is a great example. What was a good time in history? Like, maybe when Jesus Christ came upon the earth, right? There was, like, a lot of murder, there was a lot of violence. Like, there was an imbalance in service to self. So this entity, this very powerful entity came, he balanced it out with service to others, and then it got rebalanced out by the church, right? And it's a continuous, like, just sloppy ass fucking thing,
They crucified him, like, that's like, in my mind, that's probably the worst way to die ever.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can. But, like, for who he is, and then they did something so horrible with,
Right.
He healed people, and then they tortured.
And then even worse, they completely convoluted his teaching.
Exactly.
Yeah. Even worse. So that was the balance of his positivity. So it's a continuous fight. So you can never win. And you can only transcend this whole
You
duality.
can never win.
Yeah, no, really, because if you try to win, you're gonna be service to self,
Right.
and that's where service to self needs to get you.
Right.
They think like, oh, you're an individual and you gotta fight your way through this. It's funny, but anyway, so the problem, they'll come up with the problem, they'll come up with the solution, and like it'll just get snowball and generate way too much energy that's not yours, that's not in your control, that's not in your power, and you'll become even more enveloped in time, right? So going back to this real quick, we can feel like if we tune in when we're making choices, right, in third density, when we're making choices or becoming more self-aware, like, oh, I can choose in between this and that. And the preference that you choose is going to subtly, very subtly make you feel better. And you can't judge that because, like, you can't judge on what's going to make you feel better because if you judge it, then it becomes a service to self entity. Like, it becomes a service to self construct. So, like, let's say that you, for instance, me, like, I really don't have the energy to go out and work, to go out and work for somebody else. It's just, I don't have it. Like, it gets me frustrated. It gets me out here. So it's like, and that's what we're doing in fourth density, is we're becoming a lot more decentralized. Like, we're going to become more self-sufficient in a lot of ways, but also the polarity is going to be like, anyway, not going to go there. So that instance, I make a choice. Do I go out and be fucking frustrated and earn a living and stuff like that, and pay my bills and have all these things, or do I have less objects and feel better? I feel better even though I'm not relying my happiness on fucking having a car and being able to drive. Anyway, I'm gonna get too personal with this. But that's the thing. It becomes subtle. If the choice becomes angry, and you get a little frustrated and a little annoyed by it, there's something better, and that better preference or that better thing that is your higher self is guiding you towards, but it's very passive. Again, you have to be open to the possibilities, and that's what the whole religion and spirituality is all about, right? Because this is a great segue. So that segues perfectly into what I'm going to do next. If you guys want to chat while I erase this crap.
Go ahead first.
There's one.
There's two.
Oh, cool. You enjoying it, Jake?
Yes. I want to know what you mean about you spend a lot of time in second.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, second density is orange, right? It's the sacral, and it's that's your personal pleasure.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's completely personal. Yeah.
True.
So even though I'm going to hang out with friends, I'm doing it because I feel good about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though they're gonna make me happy, but it's very healing.
Definitely.
Yeah. So this isn't exactly a science, and I'm not exactly completely accurate. It's just
No, I get it now.
Cool.
That helps me understand more actually.
Cool.
Because it helps me understand them from the point of view of the chakras.
Mm.
So I'm oh, okay.
Totally. Yeah. I get fucking confused a lot and be oh yeah, 6th density, bro. That's the one I want. That's the one I want.
Yeah.
But really, dude, you're everything. So like, don't choose the fucking ultraviolet or indigo ray more than any other. It's like all of them are so important.
That helps a lot.
Yeah. Well, I see it, just have fun.
Yes, and
There's no point in.
it's hard to have fun if you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
You're thinking all the time.
Just do what feels best.
Exactly.
That's what I tell myself. What feels best right now?
Exactly. Precisely. And then sometimes you'll start thinking, and then
Does this really feel good?
exactly. It's like you doubt. Like, and that's the whole thing about doubt is it's helpful if you're wanting to like reprogram. But if you're wanting to create something and like find something that you love, then it's really helpful to not think.
Yeah. Well, like you said, you can never win, so who cares?
But see, this is the paradox, this is the contradiction. Like, what I'm talking about is very hard to wrap your mind around. It's like, oh, it's this way, but it's that way.
Right.
So, I'm always in a state of confusion, guys.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. I think everybody is really, but they just pretend that they got their shit together.
Right.
So, I'm always confused. I'm even more confused when I go out into the world and things happen and loud cars and shit. It's like,
Right.
So I've seen several YouTube videos discussing pretty much the same thing.
Really?
Yeah. So that's why I'm curious, like, what qualifies you to talk about this change?
What I mean, I think I'm very passionate. It makes me feel good a lot to talk about and read the Law of One books. And I think that's qualification enough, really.
Okay, so that's what you're talking about, is things from the Law of One.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. And Law of One is channeled.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I talked about it before. It's like beings that evolved off the planet Venus.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually, I don't know if you guys are familiar with cosmic disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
But Corey Good is said to have known like the beings from Law of One.
Mm-hmm.
They're bird beings. By the way, interesting little intuitive thing that I came up with, a download, if you will. I was thinking about like how each race is like a project for other beings, right? And I was thinking like, okay, anthropology. This is just bullshit. Don't believe me if you don't want to. But anthropology categorizes humans into three main races, like black, white, and Asian, right? They call them Mongoloid. I don't know what they call it. Mongoloid's like the Asian one. Anyway, these three major races were seeded by this is intuitive. Like white people were reptilian. Mongoloids are like insectoids, and black people are like fish. But we're not those things because we're mammals. So it's like we're not those things. We're just more. We have that more genetic background, just a tiny bit, Don't believe if you don't want to.
Interesting.
Yeah, just something to think about.
So that's a thought.
Yeah, exactly. It's just intuition, but you gotta trust it. And I get really excited when I think about it, so that's why I want to share it. I mean, that leaves out, fucking.
What about birds?
Indian. I don't know. Like, it leaves out Native Americans and Middle East. I don't know. It's just my intuition.
Probably a little more to it.
Yeah, I would say. So, Jake, you know this from last time.
Mm-hmm.
this will help in the whole grand scheme of things. So does that kind of like make sense psychically, like all that stuff? Does it really help you in your psychic awareness? Because like I was kind of thinking about like maybe this name of the class is just bad. Like maybe people aren't interested in me. Like maybe it doesn't greatly depict what I'm actually talking about. Thinking. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. It's more fun this way.
You want me to grab you a new paper towel?
No, this works. Thank you. Yeah. And we're not normal here.
Gave it away.
I'm gonna do what we like. These are the 4 quadrants of people. This is just a helpful, this isn't science. This is just something to help you get a better grasp on where you stand. But altogether, it's really, you're all of these things. So it's like, okay. But this is the quadrant of identity. Okay. So I'll start with madness. Madness is a place where it's an extreme. It's like madness, people shun and they're just completely, I don't know if you guys ever been mad. You guys been mad?
Once or twice.
Okay. You can notice that like you tense up, right? Like you're just like you're armoring. And madness is service to self, right? You're afraid of your life, you're afraid of whatever. And there's some people that visit that more often than others. There's people in asylums and mental hospitals where they think that they're a victim, they think that they're controlled. Like my dad personally, he was. But I love him to death, and he taught me a lot. So he was schizophrenic, and he went through war, and that'll fucking do it.
Yep.
But madness is this extreme where society doesn't really tolerate it. Like society doesn't like this area because their identity is like unknown. Their identity is completely extreme. So madness is where we go when we're mad. It's quite simply. And normal people visit madness more often than like. What I mean by normal people is people that are. You guys know what normal is, right? Like I don't have to describe it. It's just like usually people that are like not very spiritual. I mean, they can be spiritual and they can be normal, but normal is a fixed identity, right? You're just very rigid, fixed, and normal is. And notice the shape of this. Notice the shape. Like it's hard if you're mad. It's hard to get up that hill and go back to normal, and that's where you'll rest. Like in war and suffering and catalyst, because that's what war is. It's catalyst. In fourth density, we're gonna have a lot of that. But the madness, not on the planet, not on the planet. The madness, what was I fucking saying? Jesus Christ. Excuse my French. But it's hard to get up that hill. It's really to get to madness to normal. You know, integrated into society, you know, that you take pills or you go to therapy and like you to integrate back into a fixed identity is hard, right? Even if I don't think you're going to go back from enlightenment to normal, but you can't. But as a general person that wants to feel good, they're going to want to move towards normal, and that is uphill, you know. And this normal spot is really comfortable here, really comfortable. It's very just like you know where everything's at. You know who you are, not on a spiritual level, but you know your job, you know your family, you know your friends. What else? Anybody got to add to normal?
Routine.
Your routine. God, yeah. What else?
Family. Do the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Just your daily grind, your expectations.
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with any of these. You know, I'm always moving back and forth. We're always moving. So normal is this fixed identity, and it's really you're associating and expecting things. You're associating your identity with objects, with the way objects make you feel.
What you see.
Yeah. You know, the car you drive, you guys know the normal path. Okay? So artists are the most flexible. They're the most fluid identity. And a lot of artists don't make it to enlightenment because notice the shape. The shape is downhill. Like it's a complete surrender to enlightenment. Artists still have an identity. It can move very quickly. It's the most quickly moving identity. It's like unstable, really. And that's why, you know, you don't stay only the really popular, like, you know, pop or very famous people, they're artists because they can sustain that fluidity, like through normal people. But most artists are not gonna make it that far, and they're not gonna like be super like praised to the normals.
They're not normal.
So you know, you can't stay there very long. It's a temporary place, because like from artists, you're gonna either drop and surrender into enlightenment, or you're gonna like, because it's uncomfortable here. It's like you're gonna move back. You're gonna move back. And some artists go to madness, you know, even popular ones.
Yeah.
But enlightenment like is complete surrender. It's like complete trust, complete faith, and artists are it's a necessary thing. You know, we're becoming a lot more artful. Like people are putting on their own yoga classes and making beads and, you know, like whatever you guys do, like creative stuff. So that's like you're in the artist state. Like you're like open to intuition. You're open to like, oh, what am I gonna do this here? Blah blah blah. So and you're not really concerned about like your identity. Like you're just more about the creation aspect. So notice how it's like yang, right? Positive, creative, like outgoing service to others. Artistry, always making things so that others can enjoy them, like visit a state of bliss and enjoyment. So, you know, normal people do visit enlightenment. The only they only know enlightenment through, like, boat trips or like hiking or something like. But once you know that you become enlightened, once that moment happens, once you're aware of it, like, you're no longer enlightened. Does that make sense? Because, like, holy shit, I just felt so good, but it was the past.
Mm-hmm.
You're again in thought. It's like, oh, that felt so good. I want to get back to that. I think I'll go next weekend. I'll feel that again next weekend. Yeah. But this is I know this is controversial, but yeah. So that makes the whole really identity quadrant. Is there anything you guys want to add or questions about that? Did I not cover anything? Did I cover enough? I want to get to one more thing.
Do you think someone who's in enlightenment has moments of bouncing around the other?
Yes, absolutely. Enlightenment is a constant, like, effort. It's not effort though. It's paradox.
Yeah.
It's an awareness. It's a constant awareness, really. Because just being aware of something, it means you're not it. Does that make sense? I'm aware of that chair. I must not be it. And that's the thing with hunger too. It's like, it's tricky.
Mm-hmm.
It's tricky. It's very deceiving. But because, like, hunger can be intuitive. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into all that stuff. So and even anger, it's like you can view your anger as like, I'm angry. Like, you can actually separate your identity from anger. When you say, oh, I'm feeling anger, it's like, but you're not angry.
Right. In other languages, they don't say I am angry. They'll say I have anger.
There you go.
Something like that.
That's interesting.
So there's other ways to think about it in different languages. So it can even, in a way, anger can even be cultural.
For sure. So, yeah. When you're aware of something, you are in the position to transcend it. But a lot of times, we forget.
Let that shit go.
Yeah. And it's interesting, this side note, that they call themselves in the Law of One the brothers and sisters of sorrow. Pretty interesting. Yeah.
It's only through sorrow that you can truly know bliss.
That's right. Do you guys feel more psychically aware?
Yeah.
You guys can protect yourselves?
Yeah.
Awesome. If not, fire away. And meditation is not necessarily like sitting down and, like, barring all the senses. It's like it's just a state of non-thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can meditatively walk. You can meditatively anything. You can do anything that gets.
Like observation.
Totally. Awareness. Pure awareness. Because once you judge something, it becomes either good or bad. So you give that charge. Anyway, so the ordinary thinking is associative thinking. Like, I'm walking down the street and I see a dog, or I see a car that I like, and it's like, that car, that dog makes me think of like the car that my dad had, and the car that my dad had makes me think of this one show I used to watch. And that one show I used to watch makes me think of this one character. This one character makes me think of this other character. It's like it keeps going on. It's like completely sloppy. Completely unintentional, undeliberate. And by the way, I spend a lot of fucking time here, so.
Are you saying it's free association?
Definitely. Yeah, totally. And that plays a part. But that's where we stay. That's where we stay, most of us. And contemplation is very like, you're figuring out a problem, right? You're like, you want to go forward into like knowing the answer, which is like more about concentration. Like you're still associating things in contemplation. You're still associating this with that. How is it going to mix together? You're always trying to figure this out. But in concentration, it's like, okay, I have this now. I have this now. So this, I talked about this differently last time, but meditation is no thought. No thought. It's just doing. You could either, it's not like, you don't have to meditate. You could like not think about working in your garden. You could just work and be completely blissful. Really, when you're not thinking, it's like, that's where we always try to escape. Whether we listen to music, whether we watch TV, whether we, whatever the hell we do, drink, have a cigarette, have a smoke, have anything, eating, definitely eating. Yeah, you want to get that, you just want to, because like eating, it's emotional. Eating is emotional, and you don't want to. You feel discomfort, right, when you like emotionally eat, which is all the time. Like all the time when you eat, you feel discomfort in your body. Like I'm hungry, but that hunger is just a thought. Like I'm hungry is just a time. It's in time. Like I am something. I identified with the body. It's anyway. So the hunger that we feel is a discomfort in the body, and we associate it with hunger, but it's not all the time hunger. So but it makes us feel good when we're like eating because we're tasting something. Mm-hmm. So we're not thinking about it. And like even in the tiny moments though, like even the tiny moments like, oh, like that, I crunch on that like almond and it kind of hurt. Like that's a thought afterward, right? The pain was there, and then I thought, and then that's when I went back into like thinking. But like I was just crunching and like not thinking. Anyway, guys.